Let's make a drawing that will calm your mind, even if you've never made a drawing before. This method works whether you're a beginner or an advanced artist. Follow along as I show you how to create a mindful mosaic drawing. If you'd like to draw along, you can download the free handout that includes the shapes I'm using for this drawing. You'll find the link in the description. If you'd rather just watch for now, you can skip ahead while I explain how to prepare the shapes. Be sure to save this video so you can easily return to it later. Here's what the free handout looks like. You can print the entire thing or just the pages with the shapes. The handout includes instructions, 2 different shape pages, and extra tips. You can print in color, on colored paper, or do what I'm doing, glue the black and white shape onto a colored piece of cardstock before cutting them out. You'll also find step-by-step instructions, drawing tips, pattern examples, and a sample of what the finished drawing might look like. Plus, there's a QR code you can scan to come back to this video later. This final page is a handy reference that you'll want to keep for future practice. I'm using a glue stick to attach my white paper to a green piece of cardstock. You can use any heavier paper you have on hand, like a magazine cover or the side of a cereal box. This will make your shapes sturdier when you trace around them, though this step is optional. You'll notice that the shapes include mindfulness quotes to help you stay present as you draw. For example, focusing on the present moment is a reminder to stay grounded in what you're doing right now. Mindful mosaic drawing is designed to help you focus on the present by incorporating the element of chance into your process. Instead of worrying about how your drawing will turn out or trying to remember specific techniques, you'll simply drop and trace and observe as your design unfolds. The quote, "Let go of expectations," encourages you to focus on the process rather than the product. Don't worry about what your finished drawing will look like. Instead, be curious about how it develops. Be curious invites you to observe your process with an open mind. This sense of curiosity will keep you in the present moment and take away the pressure to create something perfect. Lastly, embrace the unexpected reminds you to welcome surprises and see them as part of the creative process. Here are the supplies I recommend, but you can use what you have on hand that's similar. A sketchbook or a paper large enough to fit a 5 by 7 inch frame. A thicker marker, like a regular Sharpie. You can also use a thinner Sharpie or even a ballpoint pen for the pattern. If you'd like to level up, you can use a Copic marker with a bullet and chisel tip. For your pattern, I like using a Uni Pen fine liner or Copic multiliner. Optional is a white gel pen for covering up small mistakes and a pencil. If you're working in a sketchbook, protect the next page by placing a piece of scrap paper underneath to prevent the ink from bleeding through. I'm using the bullet tip of a Copic marker to trace the frame. A thick, clean border will help contain your design and minimize the chance of stray lines outside the border. Next, I'll use a pencil to trace the shapes after dropping them onto the page. This keeps my shapes free from marker ink and makes it easier to align the marker lines later. I'm going to drop each shape 3 times for this drawing. If a shape lands too close to the previous spot, feel free to redrop it. Since we're using the element of chance, you can let go of control and observe what's happening, and stay curious about how your drawing evolves. This approach naturally brings your attention to the present moment, which is a great way to practice mindfulness. Make sure your shapes touch all 4 sides of the frame and avoid leaving large blank spaces. Now I'll switch to a regular Sharpie. Starting with pencil lines gives you two advantages. It prevents ink from getting on your shapes, and it lets you start and stop at intersections, so the ends of your lines line up. This also frees up your other hand to steady the page or rotate it for a more comfortable drawing position. If you want to take it a step further, use a fine-tipped marker, somewhere between 0.1 and 0.3 millimeters, to smooth out the corners. This is optional, but it gives your drawing a polished touch, and it can be surprisingly relaxing. I'm using a crocheted pencil grip to make it easier to hold my pen and reduce hand fatigue. If you'd like to make one, check out the link in the description for my video on how to make your own. If you have any stray marks outside the frame, a white gel pen is perfect for cleaning them up. Finally, you can erase any visible pencil lines once the ink is dry. Now I'll refer to the handout for the contour straight pattern. This pattern combines contour lines, which follow the edge of the shape, with straight lines. Today, I'm sticking to just this one pattern to stay more mindful and reduce decision fatigue. Repetition helps calm the mind and makes it easier to stay in the moment. Experienced artists may find it challenging to limit themselves to one pattern, but I encourage you to try. It's a great way to give your mind a break from making choices and simply enjoy the process. As you draw, you can listen to music, a podcast, or an audiobook, or simply let yourself get lost in the rhythm of your work. Watch as your drawing evolves in front of you. Remember to breathe and relax your shoulders as you work. Don't worry if your lines are not perfectly smooth. Those wobbly lines you might make are part of your unique style, and they contribute to a drawing that's authentically yours. If you could see everyone else drawing along with this lesson, you'd notice that each person's lines and patterns have their own character. The only decision you need to make with this pattern is whether to use straight or contour lines. Try not to overthink it. I do try to be aware of adjacent shapes and vary the line direction to add visual interest. If two smaller shapes are close together, I sometimes align the lines for a harmonious effect. I'll continue drawing, and I invite you to do the same. Keep glancing up at my progress if you need inspiration. I'll play some relaxing music to keep us company as we work. It's always nice to have someone to draw with. If you enjoyed this video, share it with a friend who might also love calming their mind with a mindful drawing. Don't forget to download your free PDF to get the shapes and the instruction pages to make this drawing. Thanks for watching.